Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. It's Pieman here again with your Friday night preview ahead of the World Matchplay 2022 action. 2 quarterfinals down, 2 quarterfinals to go. By the end of the evening, we will know our final 4 at the Winter Gardens this year. First of all, thanks to anyone that watched yesterday's video. We were a little bit unlucky, I think it's fair to say. Put Dimitri Bergh up to win 16-13 or better at 7-4 against Peter Wright. Probably a little bit greedy in the end because he won 16-14, so that is a loser, unfortunately. And while Nathan Aspinall certainly put up a spirited fight as our selection in the other game, Michael van Gerwen eventually getting over the line by the same scoreline and a fantastic 1-4-6 checkout against the darts from MVG to win it. And yeah, I really enjoyed both games last night. 2 absolute crackers. Will we get the same again tonight? Not sure, but let's dive into them nonetheless. Got a selection for you from both. So our first semi-final of Friday evening season, all Dutch affair. Dirk van Duijvenbode taking on Danny Noppert for a place in the final 4. And this is a very tough one to call. They're actually 10-11 the pair. Dirk opened up a slight underdog, but has since been trimmed into a shade of odds on alongside Noppert, who has drifted just a tad. But really, there's been very little market movement. I think the market is struggling to know just what to make of this encounter. So not a lot to separate them on the prices, but different routes and different levels of expectation, I think, coming into this tournament for the pair. Noppert was somebody we flagged as a dark horse on our tournament preview last week, and it's proven to be the case. He's had quite a favourable draw, but he's also a little bit underappreciated in the outright markets, generally speaking. He's done really professional jobs on the Northern Irish pair of Brendan Dolan and Daryl Gurney, beating Brendan 10-6 and Gurney 11-4 with 100-plus averages in both matches. Then on the other hand, with Dirk, despite a really good year on the floor on the European Tour, no one was really talking about him coming into this tournament. And I just think that was because he had a difficult draw. Ryan Searle in round 1, that was a bit of a coin toss match. And Searle led for large periods before Van Duijvenbode eventually clicked into gear and won 10-8. Then he came into his game with Michael Smith as an underdog. And although Smith didn't really turn up and really struggled on his doubles, I thought Dirk was a little bit harsh on himself in his post-match interview. And those are 2 really impressive scalps. I think if we're going purely on this year's achievements, you probably have to say that Dirk has got slightly more pedigree than Noppert coming into this clash. So you may be already getting this vibe, but I don't really want to commit either way on the outright match betting. I do think it's a genuine pick'em contest, and I'm not going to get into the business of trying to find the winner at 10-11. However, I do have a selection at 11-10 that takes my eye. It's the unders line, under 27.5 legs, which effectively means that it needs to be 16-11 or heavier, the margin of victory for whoever wins. So I'm keeping both players on side there, but just because this is priced tightly doesn't mean it's going to be a tight contest. We had 2 tight contests last night, and I think there's a bit of dynamics in play here. The other 3 quarterfinals all contain a real powerhouse player, and Michael van Gerwen, Peter Wright, Gerwyn Price. And while they may have contrasting fortunes, they're very much used to being a favourite in this business end of a major. I don't think either of these 2 guys are really. Quarterfinal of a major championship, they know that they're expected to win, or they both probably feel like they're expected to win. And I do think that once one player sort of skips a few legs ahead in the middle of the match, I'm not sure the other one will have the mindset to launch that comeback. It's a new distance for them, really, that neither of them have lifted this title. This is a long old game, and it'd be very easy to let your head drop a little bit if you do fall 3 or 4 legs behind. So yeah, that's the angle I'm going with. Under 27.5 legs in this match is 11-10 currently. Our last quarterfinal is actually priced as the most one-sided of the lot, with Gerwyn Price a 4-9 chance to beat Jose de Sousa, who is all the way out at 13-8. Intriguing contest, probably not one that many would have called coming into this tournament, I think it's fair to say. I'm not sure smooth sailing is the way I would describe Gerwyn Price's progression through the tournament so far, but he's certainly shown genuine quality in patches. He should have gone 5-2 down to Martin Schindler in round 1, but the German spurned a couple of darts to do so. And then we saw Price kick into gear, and he really was electric at the end of that game. And it was a similar story against Dave Chisnell. Chizzy not really firing, but still managed to find himself 6-4 up, missed darts for 7-4. And again, Price finds a little surge that he's becoming quite synonymous for and just breezed away from Chisnell in the end. So no doubt when he's on it as much as anyone in this tournament. But I do still have this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that he's vulnerable at the start of matches. As for Jose de Sousa, he's probably been one of the feel-good stories of this tournament, hasn't he, really? I mean, it's so good to see the special one playing like we all know he can once again. It was an unspectacular victory over Gabriel Clemens in round one, but it was a game where I felt he might be vulnerable. Yet he produced some really solid finishing, and that was something that I haven't seen from Jose in a long time. Then his game against Rob Cross was a mini classic, to be fair. Could have gone either way. I felt for Cross, but you couldn't help but be willing Jose on at the end. He's had such a tough time of things. And it was vintage Jose, 9 180s, power scoring, some outrageous finishing, a little bit of outrageous counting thrown in for good measure, as it always is with Mr. De Sousa. But he's just such good value. And we trot out that old comment that dart is a better place when X, Y, Z are playing well. Certainly is the case for Jose. This is a Grand Slam champion who's been in all kinds of bother on the floor, and it is really, really encouraging to see him playing so well. So in terms of a selection, I find myself tussling with heart over head, and it's head that's going to win on this occasion, I'm afraid. Gerwyn Price, I think, will just have too much for De Sousa here. There was a huge emotional outpouring after that Cross victory. He was in floods of tears on the stage, the Portuguese. And it's understandable why, don't get me wrong. It's, been a really torrid time of things for him, and he was brilliant in that game. If he could replicate that level of performance, I think he'd give Price serious problems. But I do just wonder whether that was maybe his goal in his head, and he's maybe achieved what he wanted to achieve by reminding everyone that he can do it on the big stage. Whereas Price started slowly, but typically he's growing into this tournament. He looked good against Schindler at the end. He looked really good against Chisnell at the end. I'm a little bit worried about these slow starts again, but Jose is also vulnerable to a slow start. So I have to go with Price. I'm looking at the handicap market. I could see him doing a bit of a job on Jose. So I'm going to go with Price on a minus 4.5 handicap, quite ambitious. He's got to win 16, 11 or better, but it does pay quite nicely at 2-1. So I think that's definitely worth a look, siding with the Iceman. So that concludes your Friday night preview. I hope you feel sufficiently clued up on the two matches. Not sure Friday's games are going to be quite as tight as Thursday's encounters, but we'll see. I've been wrong many times, and I'll be probably wrong again. Hope you enjoyed watching. Do leave me a comment. Let me know who you're backing in the comments, and I'll be back again tomorrow to preview the semi-finals. Thanks for watching.